Excuse me. I got a question.
Somebody give me Romans 13 and 11.
I have a question.
It's a Ronald Carr, man. Give me Romans 13 and 11.
Colonel Khan, this is the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Brother, you need a water?
Thank you.
I think we got a problem, got a problem.
Let's go. Get up. It's that club, baby. You hear that? We can't sit down to that. Okay.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy, Sheek Louch, LOXD Block, Silverback. Hey, yo, right now I need to shout out the ISUPK classes.
I want to give a huge, big, humongous shout out to all the UPK schools.
We can't sit down to that.
Shout out to Black Watch, hosted by General Yohana. Word, I need y'all to check out Cross the Line Radio as well, man. They've been open all week from 7 to 9. They ain't shut down because of the corona, the COVID and all that. They rocking strong, you know what I mean?
Think we got a problem, but really it ain't though. It's one of me and these bitches I count about 3, 4. Think we got a problem, but homie just all talk. He ain't gonna pop a balloon with a pitchfork. Think we got a problem in the club with this dog. Rude boys, dogs, ladies, everybody. Yo, shit, what they want?
Yeah. That's right. It is the ISUPK. That's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of Harlem, New York since 1969 under commanding General Yohana. And we are summoned by the Most High under the leadership of commanding General Yohana to call back and go out and retrieve the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right. We are called under that. So under commanding General Yohana, we're going out, and we out here teaching the so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right. Yahweh Shah, which is known to the world as Jesus Christ, was sent with a task. And this was the task. Can you give me Matthew 15 and 24? The task that he was sent out was very simple. But unfortunately, the earth has made it very complicated to understand this, because we were born in this culture and we were shaped in this culture. And because we were born and shaped in this culture, we have a different mindset when we approach the scriptures. All right. But Yahweh Shah was clear. It was clear on who Yahweh Shah was sent for. You got that? Let's get it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24.
Read.
But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
This is who Yahweh Shah was sent out to. He was only sent, and that means the Most High Power, his Father, sent him. And he sent him to retrieve the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's the only ones that the Most High, that's the only ones that Yahweh Shah was sent to, all right? Now, this is part 2 of a lesson that I did last week, all right? And the key verse that we were looking at, now notice it says he was only sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But when you go to Deuteronomy 32 and 21, right? Can you get that for me up?
Oh, God.
Salakia, when you go to this precept right here, now remember, he said he was only sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That is the 12 tribes of Israel. That's one whole nation, all right? Listen to this precept right here. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 21.
Come on.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
So he's saying that the Israelites, we have moved him to jealousy, right? With that which is not God. How does that happen? That happened, we went over it last week. It's when they started worshiping, they was worshiping that false calf, right? When Moses went up and came down, Aaron had made a gold calf and they was worshiping it. So they was worshiping something that wasn't a God, and it moved the Most High to jealousy with that which is not a God. Read.
Oh God, they have provoked me to anger with their vanities.
Come on.
I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
Stop. So it says, I will move them, right? He says, I will move them. Who is the them? Israel, right? To jealousy with those, right, which are not a people. So he's going to move Israel to jealousy with those which are not a people. Read.
I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
With as in singular, with the foolish nation. So what we spoke about last week was this. What a lot of Christians try to do is they try to use this scripture to show that the Most High went to other nations and using other nations to make us jealous. But he says, I will provoke them to anger with a what?
To anger with a foolish nation.
No, with foolish nations.
With a foolish nation.
No, with a multitude of nations.
With a foolish nation.
With a foolish nation as in singular. So what we had to do was find out, one, in order to find out who these people are, it had to be a people which are not a people. All right. So what we explored last week, we found out that the 12 tribes of Israel was broken into two. Right? And when they were broken into two, they became different nations. When the northern kingdom was broken off, which is called Israel, Israel was called not a nation. I'm going to show you that. Isaiah 7 and 8. Because in the book of Isaiah, chapter 7 and verse 8 is where we see it starts to unfold. All right. And that's where we're going to start at. And then we're going to get to the 5 last kings of Israel, right? There's the reason why I said it like that, and I'm going to show you. All right. So we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 8. We're going to come back to Isaiah. We're going to explore Isaiah 7, and we're going to explore Jeremiah 22 in this matter of the last 5 kings of Israel, right? Now, when we go to Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 8, read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 8.
Come on.
For the head of Syria is Damascus.
Come on.
And the head of Damascus is Rezin.
Come on.
And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken.
Shall who?
Shall Ephraim be broken.
Now, who is Ephraim? Ephraim is the northern kingdom. Read.
That it be not a people.
Read it again.
That it be not a people.
That it be not a people. When you go back to Deuteronomy, I'm going to read that. Stay right there where you at. When you go back to Deuteronomy 32 and 21, it says, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have moved me to anger with their vanity. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Read that again. They were broken in what?
And shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
Which they will be not a people. And it says here that they will be moved to jealousy with those which are not a people. And I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation, as in singular, right? So Look, so when we see it says Ephraim shall be broken off that they be not a people, right? Was Ephraim ever a different nation? When Ephraim was broken off, is there any literature, is there anywhere in the scriptures that show that Ephraim was a different nation? All right, let's get to it. All right, and then we're going to explore Ezekiel chapter 37. We touched on this last week, verse 15.
You said Ezekiel or
Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 15. Now, remember, it says that they will be provoked by a foolish nation, as in singular. So if they're broken off by, they're going to be jealous by a foolish nation, as in singular. We have to explore the scriptures to find out who it is. All right. You got it? Let's read it.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 15.
Come on, read.
The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying.
So the word of the Most High Power came to Ezekiel. Ezekiel was in captivity. He was in captivity in Babylon. We're going to touch on that. Read.
Moreover, thou son of man, take me one stick.
Read it again.
Moreover, thou son of man,
come on,
take thee one stick.
Read.
And write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions.
Salakia. Whenever, now, in the New Testament, Judah would be referred to as the Jews. All right? I want to just say that. So when he says for Judah and for the children of Israel and his companions, right? So it's talking about Judah, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? And his companions. Read.
Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim.
For who?
For Joseph, the stick of Ephraim.
Come on.
And for all the house of Israel, his companions.
All right. So it's saying you got Judah and you got Ephraim. What did we read about Ephraim in Isaiah 7 and 8? That they will be broken and called not a people, right? Go up to go over to verse 22. Let's see if Ephraim and Judah is one nation, or are they two different nations? Read.
Verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
So he says he's going to make Ephraim and Judah one nation. Read.
And one king shall be king to them all.
It's only going to be one king. That's Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Read.
And they shall be no more two nations.
So they no more two nations. Read.
Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore.
So they're not going to be divided anymore. It's not going to be some division, because remember, Ephraim was broken off and called not a people. And we're trying to explore the scriptures to find out who is these people that was broken off and called not a people, right? So let's get right to it. And this requires the last 5 kings of Judah in this study, all right? And what we're going to start is we're going to start in 2 Chronicles chapter 35. Salakia. Actually, I want you to read chapter 35 and verse 18 first. Now, remember that the last 5 kings is what we're exploring. But out of 2 of those kings, it's some meat that's going to come out of there, all right? And then at the end, we're going to see who was this nation that was used by the Most High to move us to jealousy, all right? So 2 Chronicles chapter 35 and verse 18, read.
Book of 2 Chronicles chapter 35. Verse 18.
Now this is talking about King Josiah. Read.
And there was no Passover like to that kept in Israel from the days of Samuel the prophet. Neither did all the kings of Israel keep such a Passover as Josiah kept, and the priests and the Levites and all Judah and Israel that were present, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
All right, so now he's saying that this is a Passover like no other Passover. Like he went all out with this Passover. So let's see who this king is, because we know that we had wicked kings in Israel, right? But this one king, King Josiah, is where we're going to start for our last 5 kings of Judah. Now, it's a reason why I'm changing my language from Israel to Judah. All right. It's a reason why. Why? Because remember, Ephraim, which is Israel, and his companions, they was broken off and called not a people. So the only ones that was left was Judah. Don't believe me? Salakia, let me show you. I want you to go to the book of First King chapter 12 in verse 19 and 20. All right, I'm going to show you that this Judah, when they were broken, remember, we just saw that they will be divided into 2. Judah was the only kingdom that was still following after the Most High's laws, his statutes, and his commandments. And Israel, which is Ephraim, was broken off and called not a people. They were sent off into captivity in Assyria. We talked about that last week. All right, you got it? First King chapter 12 and verse 19. Read.
Book of First Kings, chapter 12, verse 19.
Come on.
So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. Verse 20. And it came to pass.
Salakia. Notice in verse 19, he says, what? Read it again.
First Kings chapter 12, verse 19.
Read.
So Israel rebelled against the house of David.
So there was a division. Israel rebelled against the house of David. Read.
Unto this day.
Come on.
And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation.
So it says, and it came to pass when Israel, all Israel, heard that Jeroboam was come, that they sent and called unto him unto the congregation. Read.
And made him king over all Israel.
And made him king over all Israel. Read.
And there was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only.
Who?
But the tribe of Judah only.
So Judah, which is in the New Testament, is now called the Jews, because that's Greek, right? Called the Jews. Now they were the only ones that was left. So it was just Judah only. So Judah is by itself now, following after the throne of David. The throne of David is what Yahweh Shah will sit on, the authority over all 12 tribes. So the only one that was still following after that authority was Judah only. Remember, Ephraim was broken off. Israel was broken off. They had become a different nation. All right. Very important that we keep that in mind. Now let's go to 2 Chronicles, because it's some things that's dealing with these last 5 kings of Judah. Why am I saying last 5 kings of Judah and not saying the last 5 kings of Israel? The reason why it's very important in your studies to understand that is because it's going to help you understand this new covenant, going into this New Testament, understanding Yahweh Shah's ministry. It's going to help you understand it. All right. So remember, Judah only. All right. Let's read about King Josiah, which was a Negro. So we're going to start in 2 Chronicles chapter 35 and 1.
The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 35, verse 1.
Come on.
Moreover, Josiah kept a Passover unto the Lord in Jerusalem, and they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. And he set the priests in their charges and encouraged them to the service of the house of the Lord.
So this King Josiah, he came in, like I said before, I just wanted to touch on that again. He came in and he put things back in order because the king, king that was before him did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, right? I'm going to show you that. I want you to go to 2 Chronicles 33 and verse 1 and verse 2.
Book of 2 Chronicles chapter 33, verse 1.
Read.
Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, but did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
He did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High Power. Read.
Like unto the abominations of the heathen.
Of the who?
Of the heathen.
Read.
Whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel.
So remember, if you go back and you look at our study last week, we brought out the fact that those nations that was left around us was to prove us that we would not follow after those nations. All right. So Manasseh did that which was evil, and he put up high places, and he did some of the most wickedest things in Israel to the point that the Most High caused the judgment to come on him. But this King Josiah, this Negro, he came in 2 Chronicles 34 and 1. It says Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, as he reigned in Jerusalem, 130 years. So he reigned for 30 years. Verse 2. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the ways of David his father, and declared neither to the right hand nor to the left. So when he was 8, he went after he walked after David, and he did not go left, he did not go right, he did not sway from that. All right, we're gonna get up verse 3. This King Josiah, what a great king, and we're about to see the things that he did. But one of the things I want to point out before we get into that verse 3 is in verse 2. It says, verse 2. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and he walked in the ways of David, his father. It's very important. David, his father. Why am I bringing this out? Because I'm showing you the harmony of the scriptures. It doesn't mean that David was his direct father and David slept with a woman and had King Josiah. He was from the line of Judah. So because he was from the line of Judah and he was following after the throne of David, boom, he was walking after his father David. It's very important because I'm going to bring that out when we get to the New Testament. Now let's go. Verse 3. Second Chronicles 34 and verse 3.
Book of 2 Chronicles chapter 34, verse 3. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the God of David, his father.
David who?
His father.
It's very important to understand that, all right? Because when someone's your father, that means that you are the seed of that line, meaning not the blood, because all 12 tribes, we all got the same blood, right? But the progenitor is Judah. And through that line, through that seed of Judah came David. And from David came King Josiah. All right. So this is why it's very important, because you can't break the scriptures. David is his father. All right. Read.
And in the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places and the groves and the carved images and the molten images.
So he started to purge it. He started to get rid of all of these graven images that they were doing abomination to. Those that Manasseh had set up, and Manasseh had set up these high places and this abomination after the heathens. King Josiah is tearing them down. Young man, tearing them down. Read.
Verse 5. And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altars and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem.
Read.
Oh, sorry.
You missed verse 4.
I missed verse 4. Sorry. Verse 4. And they broke down the altars of Balaam
Come on.
in his presence, and the images that were on high above them he cut down, and the groves and the carved images and the molten images he broke in pieces and made dust of them and strewn it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them.
Read.
And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altars and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem.
So he's cleansing it. All right. He's cleansing it. Right. Why is he doing this? I'm going to show you why. Go to 2 Chronicles 15:2. Start at verse 1. King Josiah was a great king, and he was our last righteous king. And you're going to see some turns and some twists and different nations taking over Judah. Notice what I'm saying. Judah, the Jews, not Israel. Why? Because Israel was broken off and called not a people. You got it up? Let's get it. Read.
Book of 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 2. You said
start at verse 1.
Verse 1. And the Spirit of God came upon Azariah, the son of Oded.
Read.
And he went out to meet Asa, and said unto him, Hear ye me, Asa, and all Judah.
And all who?
And all Judah.
And who?
And all Judah.
It's very important. All Judah. Read.
And Benjamin.
And who?
And Benjamin.
Why is he not saying everybody else? Because he's only speaking to the Jews. He's only speaking to Judah. He's only speaking to the southern kingdom, because the northern kingdom was broken off and called not a people. Read.
The Lord is with you, while ye be with him, and if ye seek him, he will be found of you. But if ye forsake him, he will forsake you.
So King Josiah knows this. King Josiah knows that while he be with him, and if ye seek him, he will be found of you. King Josiah knows this. So King Josiah is applying this. So King Josiah was a righteous king, and he tore down. We're going back to 2 Chronicles 30. We're going to go to 35 now. All right. So King Josiah, he was doing what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and he tore down all these places, and he had a great Passover. He was a great man. And guess what? All Israel loved him. All Israel loved him. Judah loved him, and his companions. They all loved him, right? All right. I want you to go back to chapter 35, and I want you to start at verse 3.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 3.
Salakia, verse 4. Now, it's very important to understand the harmony of the scriptures. It's very important for us to understand the harmony of the scriptures. And notice, I want you to notice that we're going to be talking about Judah, not Israel. All right, read.
Book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 4. And prepare yourselves by the houses of your father.
No, by the houses of your mother.
By the houses of your father.
It's very important to understand that things is done according to your father's house, not according to your mother's house. This is according to your father. Read.
After your courses, according to the writing of David, king of Israel, and according to the writing of Solomon, his son.
So now remember, Judah is following after David. Read.
And standing in the holy place according to the divisions of the families of the fathers of your brothers.
No, of the mothers of your brother.
Of the families of the fathers of your brothers.
Read.
The people.
Come on.
And after the division of the families of the Levites.
All right. So now this thing is really going now. All right. King Josiah is putting things in order. All right. He's putting things in order. He's doing according to the righteousness of the Lord. But it was a lot going on during that time. All right. There was a lot going on during that time. Some of the things that was going on was Babylon and Egypt. Babylon and Egypt was battling. All right. And you're going to start to see all of this come into play. It's very important. Now, listen, King Josiah was our last righteous king. He was our last righteous king, right? And Egypt was, the Egyptians was going to, with the Assyrians to invade, to fight against Babylon, right? And King Josiah intervened. So we about to see what took place when he intervened, right? I want you to go to 2 Chronicles 35, and we're going to start at verse 20. Now we're dealing with King Josiah. Read.
Book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 20.
Read.
After all this, when Josiah had prepared the temple, Necho, king of Egypt, came up to fight against Carchemish by Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him.
So he went out to intervene, right? Read. Now, when it says, and Egypt came up to fight against Carchemish, that is Nineveh. All right. This is dealing with the Assyrians. All right. Verse 21.
Verse 21. But he sent ambassadors to him, saying.
So this is what the king of Egypt did. He sent ambassadors to him, and this is what they said. Read.
What have I to do with thee, thou king of Judah?
No, king of Israel.
Thou king of Judah.
It's very important while we're saying the king of Judah. Remember, we're trying to find out who this nation that's going to move them to jealousy. And the only ones that's left is who?
Thou king of Judah.
Read.
I come not against thee this day, but against the house wherewith I have war. For God commanded me to make haste. Forbear thee from meddling with God, who is with me, that he destroy thee not.
So this king of Egypt is saying, listen, your God is with me. And he's sanctioning me to do this. Don't come out here and get involved in this, or it's going to go bad for you. That's what's going to happen. He's going to destroy you, your God. After all these great things you did, out of all these wonderful things you did, this great Passover you've done. And the scripture says that he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and he walked after his father David. And he followed the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. But he said, listen, if you come out here and go up against this one thing, it's going to destroy you. Let's see. Verse 22.
Nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him.
Read.
But disguised himself, that he might fight with him, and hearken not unto the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo.
So now he's disguised himself. Now he's going out there to fight. Read.
Book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 23. And the archers shot at Josiah, King Josiah. And the king said to his servants, have me away, for I am sore wounded.
So he got shot. He got shot by an arrow, right? Read.
Verse 24. His servants therefore took him out of that chariot and put him in the second chariot that he had. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died, and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his fathers.
Read.
And all Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah.
So this is where the book of Lamentation comes from. Like Josiah was a well-loved king. All right? He was the last righteous king of Judah. Of Judah, not Israel. Why? I'll say it again. Israel was broken off and called not a people, right? Read.
Verse 25. And Jeremiah lamented for Josiah, and all the singing men and the singing women spake of Josiah in their lamentations to this day, and made them an ordinance in Israel. And behold, they are written in the lamentation.
All right, so now you see that all Israel mourned for King Josiah. So when King Josiah was killed, then this is what the people did. 2 Chronicles 36:1.
2 Chronicles chapter 36, verse 1.
Read.
Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem.
So they took Jehoahaz, his son, and made him king over Egypt. All right, read.
Over
I'm Salakia, over Jerusalem. Read.
Verse 2. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem.
All right, so remember, King Josiah was killed because the king of Egypt told him, Necho told him, don't come out here. And when he went out there, he was killed, right? So now look what the king of Egypt going to do in verse 3. Read.
Verse 3. And the kings of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz his brother and carried him to Egypt.
So he went into the first son that was put in place, Salakia, of King Josiah was the second king, was his son Jehoahaz, right? So king of Egypt came and took him back to Egypt, all right? He never returned from Egypt. You'll see that in Jeremiah 22 and verse 12, all right? But what he did was he put Jehoiakim, his brother, in position and changed Salakia, Eliakim, and changed his name to Jehoiakim and put him in place. So you can see how the king of Egypt now is in full control in doing what he wants to do. Where? In Judah. Why? Because they wanted to rely on King Josiah, wanted to go out and help in this battle and was killed by his son being put in place. King of Egypt came and moved his son out of place and put his other son in position and took him away to Egypt into captivity. All right. Verse 5.
Verse 5.
So this is the third king. Jehoiakim is the third king. Read.
Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters, to carry him to Babylon.
So he was bound in chains and carried to Babylon. So now, remember, it was the Egyptians. So now that the king of Babylon had conquered all of that, conquered Egypt, now he's coming to conquer Jerusalem. He didn't won the battle between the Egypt and the Assyrians. Now he's coming to take Jerusalem, right? So he comes and he takes King Jehoiakim and takes him away into captivity. Can you give me 2 Kings chapter 23? Salakia, 2 Kings chapter 24. Now remember, we're reading about Jehoiakim. 2 Kings chapter 24 and verse 1.
Book of 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him.
So he was serving Nebuchadnezzar for 3 years, and then he turned on him. Read.
Verse 2. And the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it.
Sent them against Judah. Notice, it doesn't say Israel. It's very important to understand that. It's a reason why the Most High is saying Judah. Why? I'll say it again. Judah is known as the Jews in the New Testament. They were the only ones that was left in Ephraim, which is Israel, became not a people. All right, read.
Oh God. Verse, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servants, the prophets. Verse 3. Surely at the commandment of the Lord came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh.
Now remember, Manasseh was before who? He was before King Josiah. Remember, King Josiah came in and cleaned up those things that Manasseh did. And then King Josiah was killed. His son was, they came and put his son in place, Jehoahaz. And then the king of Egypt came and took him and carried him away captivity into Egypt, and put his brother Eliakim and changed his name to Jehoiakim. And Jehoiakim served the king of Babylon. Remember, these are the kings of Judah. Served the king of Babylon for 3 years, and then they rebelled against him. So the Most High sent the adversaries, those nations that was around them, against Judah, to destroy Judah, to wipe Judah right out of their sight. So now let's go back to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, we're going to go down to verse 9. Second Chronicles 36 and 9, Salakia.
Book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 36.
In verse 9. Now this is, now we get ready to look at the fourth king. We get ready to look at the fourth king. All right, read.
Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem.
So that was the fifth. So that was the last king of Judah. Now we're about to explore some things about this, all right? The first one we're going to look at, we're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to look at Jehoiachin, all right? we're going to look at Jehoiachin, right? So we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 22. Now, why is this important? This is important is because this is the chapter that the virgin birth people use. They use Jeremiah 22 and 30. They use that. I'm going to read it. Now, remember, these were the last 5 kings of Judah. Did the Most High say that he would have mercy on Judah? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did say he was going to have mercy on Judah. All right. Before we get to that Jeremiah 23, I want to show the mercy on Judah and the fact that the Most High had mercy on Judah and was sending them into captivity for only a period of time and then brought them out of captivity. All right. So the first place we're going to look at is Hosea. Hosea 1. Now, when was Hosea? Hosea was before the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom they were split, but the northern kingdom was not taken off and taken out of the Most High sight yet. So Hosea was prophesying about both kingdoms, Judah and Israel. We went over this last week, but I just want to touch on it again before I get to Jeremiah 22 and Isaiah 7. All right. You got it? Hosea chapter 1 and verse 6.
Come on.
Read.
Book of Hosea chapter 1 verse 6.
Come on.
And she conceived again and bare a daughter. There it is. The book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 6. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Lo Ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel.
So he said, I'm not going to have no more mercy on the house of Israel. Go ahead.
But I will utterly take them away.
Read.
But I will.
But, very important, he says, but I will, read.
But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah.
And this is what we're seeing the last 5 kings. All right. We're seeing the last 5 kings, and we're seeing Jerusalem being destroyed, right, by the Babylonians. But he says, but I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. Read. And
will save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen.
All right.
Now, when she had weaned.
No, that's too hard. All right. So we know under the old covenant, he said he's not going to have mercy on Israel. He's not going to have mercy on Ephraim. Matter of fact, he said he was moving them out of the way and they will be broken off and called not a people. All right. So now we're going to speed it up. Now we went backwards. Now we're going to speed it back up to where we was at. And we're going to go and dive back into the 5 kings. And the 2 kings that we're going to look at right now is Jehoiakim and Jehoiachin. All right. I want you to start at verse 1. Jeremiah chapter 22 and verse 1. Now, it's very important that you get this understanding on what we're going to bring out right here, because once again, a lot of people that believe that Mary was born without the father and the house of the seed of Jacob from Joseph, they use this chapter, but now we get ready to see why the Most High said what he said in verse 30. All right. In verse 30, I just want to read it. This is what they use. Thus saith the Lord, write ye this man childless, a man that shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting up on the throne of David and ruling anymore in Judah. So people use this and say, that verse right there, they use that and say, see, this is the reason why Joseph could not be the birth, the seed that was used to birth Christ. This is why. But now we get ready to see why did he just say that? Why did he say what he was saying? We about to look. Start at verse 1. Read.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 1.
Come on.
Thus saith the Lord, go down to the house of the king of Judah.
Salakia. They're saying they can't hear me.
Now, you be quiet.
Which one? All right, go ahead.
I checked. It's 12. I checked YouTube and I read that. And it's unclear. So.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 1.
Read.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, go down to the house of the king of Judah.
From the house of King of Israel.
To the house of the king of Judah.
It's very important that we understand that this is for Judah. Once again, read.
And speak there this word.
Come on.
And say, hear the word of the Lord, O king of Judah, that sitteth upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants, and thy people that enter in by these gates.
Come on.
Thus saith the Lord, execute ye judgment and righteousness, and deliver the spoil out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place.
Come on.
For if ye do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people.
So if you do according to the will of the Most High, you will do well. But verse 5, he says, read.
But if you will not hear these words, I swear by myself, saith the Lord, that this house shall become a desolation.
It shall become a desolation. So the Most High is going to stick to his word. Remember, we're talking about Judah, right? That's what we're talking about. Read.
Verse 6, for thus saith the Lord unto the unto the king's house of Judah, thou art Gilead unto me, and the head of Lebanon. Yet surely I will make thee a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited.
So the Most High said, I'm going to make you a wilderness, right? Read.
Verse 7, and I will prepare destroyers against thee, every one with his weapons, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars and cast them into the fire.
So the Most High has made it clear. If you do well, I'm going to do, just like he always do. Just like all the way back when you talk about Cain, and he told Cain that sin lieth at the door waiting to rule over you, right? It's the same thing. The Most High always gives us a way. He always gives us that option. Listen, you can go right or you can go left, right? So now I'm going to shoot up to verse 9. Read.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 9.
Come on.
Then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant.
They have forsaken the covenant. It's very important to understand. All of this is about the covenant. And the Most High has declared that he will have mercy on the house of Judah under this covenant, but not to the house of Israel. And he says in verse 9, then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord their God. Read.
And worship other gods and serve them. Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away. But he shall return no more, nor see his native country.
So he said, look, weep ye not for the dead. Don't cry for nobody. Whoever he's getting ready to talk about now that's going into this captivity is not going to return. Read.
Verse 11. But thus saith the Lord, touching Shallum, the son of Josiah, king of Judah.
All right, come on. That's talking about Jehoiakim. Go ahead.
Which reigned instead of Josiah, his father.
Come on.
Which went forth out of this place. He shall not return thither any more.
Come on.
But he shall die in the place whither they have led him captive.
So he's saying that the king is going to be led away captive, right? And he's going to die there. He's not going to come back here. Why? Because he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And because he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, he's not going to sit on the throne. He's going to go into captivity. He's going away and he's not going to return, right? But it says that he will not return to this country, right? Read verse 11 one more time.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 11. For thus saith the Lord, touching Shallum, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah, his father, which went forth out of this place, which shall not return thither any more.
Read.
But he shall die in the place whither they have led him captive, and shall see this land no more.
Come on.
Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's service without wages, and giving him not for his work.
Verse 16.
He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Lord?
Read.
But thine eyes and thy heart are not, but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up real bad.
And to do it.
All right, verse 18. All right. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, they shall not lament for him, saying, O my brother, or O my sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, O Lord, or O his glory. He shall be buried with a barrier of an ass, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. So he's saying Jehoiakim, he's going to be killed and he's going to be buried like an ass, right? Verse 20, he says, go up to Lebanon. You got it? Go ahead, read.
Verse 20, go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry for the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. Verse 21, I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou sayest, I will not hear. This hath been thy manner from thy youth.
Come on.
That thou obeyest not my voice. The wind shall eat up all thy pastures, and thy lovers shall go into captivity.
Shall what?
And thy lovers shall go into captivity.
Come read.
Surely then shalt thou be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness.
So all of this is happening because they broke the covenant. All of this is taking place because they broke the covenant. Verse 24.
As I live, saith the Lord, though Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet upon my right hand, yet will I pluck thee thence, and I will give thee into the hand of them that seek thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans.
So it's saying, he's saying that Jehoiachin, he's going to put him because of his wickedness. It doesn't say he's going to do anything to anyone else. He's dealing with Jehoiachin. And he said, because of his wickedness, he's going to cause him to be plucked up, and he's going to cause him to go into Babylon. Why? Because this king of Judah was doing that which was wicked. Which king is this? This is the fourth. Remember, this is the fourth king, right? Verse 26.
Verse 26. And I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country, where ye were not born, and there shall ye die. But to the land where
Salakia. So he's saying that when he goes into that land, when he goes into the captivity and he's taken away, he's going to be killed there. So guess what? We know he can't sit on the throne, right? And we know that all of the last 5 kings of Judah, all of them was doing that which was wicked. All of them is doing that which is wicked, right? Read.
Come. Verse 27.
Drop the mic.
But to the land whereunto they desire to return, thither shall they not return.
So they're not, the Most High is saying you're not going to return. Him, nor his kids, nor his none of them. Nobody will return. Why? Because they broke the covenant. Read.
Verse 28. Is this man Jeconiah a despised, broken idol?
So he's talking about Jehoiachin, and he's saying he's a despised and broken idol. Read.
Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure?
There is, the Most High saying ain't no pleasure in them. Read.
Wherefore are they cast out?
This is the reason why he was cast out. Read.
He and his seed.
He and who?
He and his seed.
He and his seed is getting this judgment. This is not talking about the whole bloodline of Judah. This is not referring to Joseph. This is referring to who?
He and his seed.
He and his seed. Read.
And are cast into a land which they know not.
So they were going into captivity. They was going into a land that they knew not. Why? Because the covenant. They broke the covenant. The king of Judah had broke the covenant. But according to what the Most High had promised through the prophet Isaiah, he's going to have mercy on Judah. But he's not going to have mercy on Israel. Read.
Verse 29. O earth, hear the word of the Lord.
So he's calling up on witnesses. The Most High is calling up on a witness, and the witness is the earth itself. Read.
Thus saith the Lord, write ye this man child.
What man he's talking about? He's talking about Jehoiachin. He's not talking about the whole line of David. He's talking about him and his seed is going into captivity, and that's where they're going to be. Read.
A man that shall not prosper in this day.
In what day?
In his day.
No, in all days.
In his day.
No, in every days.
In his day.
In his days. Him and his seed in his day will not prosper. This is not talking about the whole line of Judah, and the whole line of Judah is going to be seedless on the throne of David. That's not what this is saying. Read.
For no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David and ruling anymore in Judah.
So how couldn't it? How could they? It's impossible for them to rule, or his seed to rule. Why? Because they was taken into captivity. So if they was taken into captivity, taken there, the Most High is talking about them. So that's what Ezekiel, Jeremiah 22 is talking about. So who did we deal with? We dealt with Jehoiakim and Jehoiachin, right? Now let's go to Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 1. All right. So this is another one that the virgin birth people use. All right. Christians use. How about that? Let's just say this is another one that the Christians use, right? This is Isaiah chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 1.
Slack, give me 1 second to scribe.
All right. So now we about to explore what the Most High had to say to Isaiah concerning the state that Israel was in during this time, right? And a prophecy was made, and that prophecy that was made because of the condition of Israel. When it goes to Isaiah 7:14, where it says, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Right? Why did the Most High say this? This all is tied in to what's going on with Judah and the last 5 kings. And it's very important to understand because Ephraim, which is the northern kingdom, was broken off. And we're about to show you and explore it. Verse 1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 1.
Read.
And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, the king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Ramaliah, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it.
So they were going to war against Judah. They was going up to war against the house of David. Read.
But could not prevail against it.
Read.
And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as trees of the wood are moved with the wind. So they were confederate. Ephraim had sided with Syria, the Assyrians, right? The fight against Judah. All right. No, it wasn't prevail, but the fact is they was doing it. And because of this, this is the reason why we read in verse 8. Read. Verse 8. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
All right. So this is where we get the fact that Ephraim is broken off and not called a people, right? So I want you to start at verse 10.
Verse 10. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. So he's talking about his Isaiah, right? Read. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord.
Come on.
And he said, hear me now, O house of David.
Read.
Is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will he weary my God also? Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign.
Now he's speaking to Isaiah. He's saying the Lord himself will give you a sign. Read.
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
So why did the Most High tell Isaiah that he was going to receive a sign? Why did he say that? Because remember the condition right here. Ephraim was broken off and called not a people. So because Ephraim was broken off and called not a people, all this was going on, the Most High told Isaiah, I'm going to give you a sign, a virgin, right? He says, behold, a virgin shall conceive and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. What does Emmanuel mean? Emmanuel means God is with us, right? Very important. So remember the condition and the state of Israel. They're broken off. They're separated. They're divided. They 2 different nations. Most High told Isaiah, I'm going to give you a sign, right? Read. Go down to verse 17.
Verse 17. The Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. So he's showing he's showing you how it was a separation, right? It was a division. Read verse 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria.
So remember, I wanted you to see that, because remember, we was dealing with Assyria, we were dealing with Egypt, right? Syria and Ephraim is working together and caused Ephraim to be broken off, right? So he told Isaiah that he would give him a sign, right? He said that a virgin would have a child, and that child name will be called Emmanuel, because the Lord is with us. I want you to go to verse 1 of Isaiah 8:1.
Book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 1.
Read.
Moreover, the Lord said unto me, take thee a great roll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Mahar Shalal Hashbaz.
So it's all about this Mahar Shalal Habaz, right? Verse 3. Salakia, verse 2. Salakia.
And verse 2, and I took unto me faithful witnesses to record.
So Isaiah said he took a witness with him to record. Read.
Uriah the priest.
Come on.
And Zechariah the son of Jabarakiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived, and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, call his name Mahar Shalal Hashbaz, for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. And he shall pass through he shall pass through Judah, and he shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land, O Emmanuel.
O Emmanuel. So because of that child being born, O Emmanuel means the Lord is with us. So even though Ephraim is broken off, right? And it's Judah and Benjamin and Levi's alone, the Most High gave Isaiah a sign for that child, that the Lord is with him. I'm going to prove it. Verse 18.
Book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 18.
Read.
Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion.
So this shows that Isaiah received a sign to show him the mercy that the Most High said he would have on Judah. All right. The fact that the Lord is with them, Emmanuel, right? So now, what is this all about? What is this all about that we're talking about? This is what it's all about. Judah was the only ones that was left. So when Yahushua came, it was only Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that came out of captivity. I'm about to show you. Now, Jeremiah 25:11. So remember, it was only Judah left. Judah was the only ones that was left. Israel was taken out of the way, taken out of his presence, and the Lord said he would not have mercy on Israel, but he will have mercy on Judah. This is the reason why Isaiah received that sign. You got it?
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 25, verse 11.
Read.
And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment. And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
This is the reason why King Josiah shouldn't have got involved in any of that. Because the Most High had already said that the king of Babylon, all the nations was going to serve the nation of Babylon, the king of Babylon, right? Read verse 12.
Verse 12, and it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished.
When 70 years are accomplished, read.
That I will punish the king of Babylon.
Read.
And that nation.
Come on.
Saith the Lord.
Read.
For their iniquity and the land of the Chaldeans and will make it perpetual desolation.
So after that 70 years, right? After that 70 years, who came out of captivity? Was it all 12 tribes or was it just Judah? Was it only those last 5 kings that went into captivity? Remember, the last 5 kings only represented Judah. They were the only ones that was left. So let's see who came out of captivity. The book of Ezra. Ezra chapter 1. Read.
Verse 1.
Verse 1. Now, this is the fulfillment of Jeremiah 25 and 12, what we read. This is the end of that 70 years. And the end of that 70 years, we need to see who came out of captivity. Because remember, we're still trying to find who is this nation that moved Judah to jealousy now. Remember, Judah is still Israel, but Judah was the only ones that was left under the covenant. Right? Verse 1.
Book of Ezra, chapter 1, verse 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying.
So notice it says this was came by the mouth of Jeremiah that it might be fulfilled. This is that 70 years. Read.
Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem,
Read.
which is in Judah.
Come on.
Who is there among you of all his people?
So notice he says, which is in Judah. So we still dealing with Judah. All right. We still dealing with who is called today in the New Testament in Greek, the Jews. All right. We're not dealing with all 12 tribes. Read.
His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem.
All right. Shoot down to verse 5. Let's see who it was.
Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem.
All right. So now we see that it was only Judah, right? I want you to go to verse 59. Verse 59.
Where at?
Ezra chapter 2, verse 59.
Oh, okay.
So we looking to see who came back out of captivity. So now we see that it was Judah. It was only the Jews who is called in the New Testament the Jews. Judah, the southern kingdom. Read.
Book of Ezra, chapter 2, verse 59. And these were they which went up from Tel-Melah, Tel-Harsah, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not show their father's house.
So they could not show their father's house. Remember, we exploring who came back. So remember, prior to going in, it was all about the house of your father. So now they're coming out of captivity. They have fulfilled those 70 years. And now he's saying, but they could not show their father's house. Read.
And their seed.
And their who?
And their seed.
No, and their blood.
And their seed.
Read.
Whether they were of Israel.
So they couldn't show it. So let's see what happened. Read.
The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 652, and of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Kaz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called after their names.
So they were called after their names. So these are the ones that could not show, all right, who was their father's house, all right, and their seed. They couldn't show it. So that means they couldn't show who, if they were Israel or not. Read.
Verse 62. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found.
But they were not found. Read.
Therefore,
read.
were they as polluted.
As what?
As polluted.
No, as clean.
As polluted.
As a spiritual Israelite.
As polluted.
Read.
Put from the priesthood.
So they were put from the priesthood. You wasn't found. You couldn't prove who you was. Read.
And Tarshatha said unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things, till there stood up a priest with Urim and with Thummim.
So they needed someone to stand for them. They couldn't all. You got to prove who you are because you're polluted. All right? Based on your father. So we know that Judah came out, right? So who was Yahushua ministering to? Judah, right? Judah. Hold on. Give me that precept. There. Where's the scripture that where it talks about the other sheep?
That's not of this fold.
That's not of this fold. That's John 10.
That sound like
John 10. I want you to start at John
10 to 16.
Start at 14. Start at 14. Read.
What slot you want to? Are we going back to Ezra?
We done with Ezra.
Okay.
So we see that those that came out of captivity was Judah, and it was based on the seed of their father. It doesn't say anything about the seed of the mother. It says seed of the father, right? And the only ones that was left was Judah. So when Yahushua came into the land and his ministry began, it was only Judah there. John chapter 10 and verse 14 through 16.
Book of John chapter 10 verse 14.
Read.
I am the good shepherd and know my sheep and am known of mine.
Read.
As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep.
Remember, he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Read.
And other sheep I have.
Read it again.
And other sheep I have.
So who is the other sheep? Read.
Which are not of this fold.
Now you have to start to apply it. Remember, he's only dealing and speaking to Judah. And remember, we saw that Ephraim was broken off and called not a people, right? They were actually a different nation. They were not the same. So when he says in verse 16, read it from the top again.
And other sheep I have.
Other sheep I have. The other sheep he have is Ephraim, Israel, the ones that was broken off. Remember, Yahushua came to establish a new covenant. Under that old covenant, only Judah received mercy. Ephraim didn't. Read.
Which are not of this fold.
Come on.
Them also I must bring.
Them also must I bring. Why? Because he was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, all 12 tribes. At this point, he's only dealing dominantly with Judah, because the Judah, which is the Jews, are the only ones that's in the land. Read. That was called back. Read.
And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
And one shepherd. And this goes with Ezekiel 37. So remember, this one that has not received and obtained mercy, we'll show you who that is. We're going to go to the book of Peter, chapter 2, and verse 10. This is the book of Peter, 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 10. Salakia, we're going to start at verse 9. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praise of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people. Well, who in time past was not a people? Remember, in Deuteronomy 32 and 21, he says that we will be moved to jealousy with a foolish nation, which is called not a people. So remember, in verse 10, it says in 1 Peter 2 and 10, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. You see? So whoever this nation is that he's speaking about right here was not a people and did not obtain mercy. Well, who was that? We know under the old covenant that was Israel. They are the foolish nation. They are the foolish nation that moved the most, that the Most High used to move the jealousy. Well, how did that happen if both of them are Israel? Let me explain. You had 12 tribes. Those 12 tribes is broken into two. Just a recap of everything that we went over. When that 12 tribes is broken into two, the northern kingdom, which is Ephraim, was broken off and called not a people. All right? They was cast out of his sight. The only ones that was left was Judah. That's why the last 5 kings was only from the king. They were only the kings of Judah. It never says Israel. Who went into captivity in Babylon? Judah. Who came out of captivity in Babylon? Judah. Who was in the land during the time of Yahushua? Judah. Well, what about Ephraim? What about Israel? They did not obtain mercy. So now we're about to look at it. We're going to go to, which we have been to plenty of times, but now it all comes together. If you go to Romans chapter 9 and verse 24, we've done it so many times, but now you get a chance to see the full picture. Judah, which is called the Jews in the under the old covenant, in that Hebrew, they had to be saved first. Judah had salvation, meaning Yahushua had to go to them first. Sidebar, hold that Romans 9. Do you know where what precept is for Judah being saved first? All right. That's in Zechariah. This right here is a cold cut. This is a killer right here. This is the reason why it says Judah had to be saved first. If you go to Zechariah chapter 12 in verse 7, this is what it says. This is Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 7. It says, and the Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first. Why is he saying he must save the tents of Judah first? Because Judah was the only ones that the Most High under that old covenant obtained mercy. They were the only ones that came out of captivity, out of Babylon, and they were the only ones that was dominant in Jerusalem during the time of the Messiah. So he's saying, verse 7, and the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So remember, Judah is the only ones that's still left. So now, when Yahushua come and Judah don't want to follow after him dominantly, he's going to use the very ones that he had cast out to make Judah jealous. That's the jealousy. That's the foolish nation. Watch. Romans chapter 9 and verse 24. Now it starts to make sense. Watch this. Even us. Well, who is the us? Judah. Why? Because Judah was the only ones that was left. Judah was the only ones that was operating under that old covenant as the ones that obtained mercy. So when he says even us, he's talking about Judah. Who? The ones that would have to be saved first. whom he had called, not of the Jews, meaning not of Judah only, but also of the Gentiles. So now he's reaching out to that foolish nation because Ephraim had became Gentiles. So he says in verse 25, as he has also say in OC. So he's using it. What we read earlier in Hosea. I have called them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which is not my beloved. Verse 26, and it shall come to pass where it was said unto them, ye were not my people, there shall ye be called the children of the living God. This precept right here is what we read in Hosea. The foolish nation that he used against Judah was Ephraim. Remember, the Lord's ways is not our ways. His thoughts is not our thoughts, right? So now, in closing, we're going to go to Hosea, chapter 1, and take off where we left. We stopped at verse 7. I'm going to do 8. I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just to show you, 11. We're going to do Hosea chapter 1, verses 6 through 11. You got that for me, y'all? This is going to wrap it all up and bring it all together. That the whole time when he said that he would use a foolish nation, well, who was that foolish nation? Ephraim, Israel. Why was there a foolish nation? Because they forsook the covenant. And because they forsook that covenant, they were a foolish nation and they were cast out. And Judah was the only ones left and the only ones that the Most High said he would have mercy on. You ready?
Okay.
Read.
Book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 6.
More.
And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Laruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away.
Broken off and called not a people. Read.
But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and I will save them by the Lord their God, and I will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen.
This is how you know that this, when it talks about Judah having mercy on Judah and how Yahushua was going to come and fix it. This is how you know, because he says right there, he says how he would save them. He says, I will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horsemen, nor by horsemen. Because Yahushua came and he didn't do all of that. He came and died on the cross, right? Read.
Now, God, verse 8. Now, when she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said God, call his name Lo-Ammi, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God.
This is talking about the northern kingdom. It's talking about Israel. It's talking about Ephraim, the ones that was broken off and called not a people. Verse 10.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
Why is he saying that? Because he made a promise. He made a promise to Abraham. He made a promise to Isaac. He made a promise to Jacob that Israel will be saved. So he says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. Read.
Which cannot be measured nor numbered.
Read.
It shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God.
Who is that talking about? He never said that to Judah. He said that to Ephraim. He said that to Israel, that they will be broken off and called not a people. But the Most High is bringing everyone back. Right? Read.
Verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together,
Come on.
and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. For great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Great shall be the day of Israel, right? So that is what it means. So now let's go in closing. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 32 and 21. Now let's read it and get an understanding on what he was talking about when he said that he would be moving them to jealousy with a foolish nation. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 21. Read.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
So he's talking to Israel. But remember, Israel had broken up, and he said he moved Ephraim away, Israel away, and they were broken off and called not a people. Read.
And I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
He provoked them to anger with a foolish nation. I want one more to wrap this up. I know I keep saying it, but I got one more. I want you to go to Matthew. Hold on, Slovakia. One more, and this is going to bring it all together. Hold on. It's Slovakia. I thought so. Luke 15. You know what I want. Luke 15. To prove what we're saying is the case and how he was moved to jealousy. We're going to start at Luke chapter 15. We're going to start at verse 11.
Book of Luke chapter 15, verse 11.
Read.
And he said, a certain man had two sons.
Come on.
And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living.
So we know the youngest in this parable would be Ephraim. It would be the northern kingdom. Read.
Verse 13. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
Oh, so he was just living it up, right? Verse 15.
And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country.
So he became a heathen. He joined himself as a citizen of that country. Read.
And he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
So he just doing it up, right? He's just doing it up. I want you to go down to verse 20.
And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him.
All right, so what happened between there is the son wanted to return back home. Like Ephraim. Like the nation and the kingdom that was broken off and called not a people. The one that went off and became heathens. The one that went off and became Gentiles. He wanted to return back home. So in verse 20, it says, as he rose and came to his father, but when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him a great way off. His father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Verse 21. Now remember, It was two brothers. Where was the other brother? The other brother was still there. That would be Judah. He never left. All right. Verse 21.
Verse 21. And the son said unto his father, and his son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.
So this is how Ephraim must come back and repent. They must come back and understand that they have forsook the Most High power. And through Yahushua Mashiach, which is known as Jesus Christ, that has given us the new covenant that they may come back. Verse 22.
But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on.
Come on.
And put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet.
Read.
And bring hither the fatted calf and kill it.
Come on.
And let us eat and be merry.
Read.
For this my son was dead and is alive again.
Come on.
He was lost.
He was what?
He was lost.
Like the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Read.
And is found.
And was what?
And is found.
That's what Yahushua came to do. That's what we are sent out to do under commanding General Yohana. Read.
And they began to be married.
Read.
Now his elder son was in the field.
Now this would be Judah. He's still in the field, right? Read.
And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing.
Come on.
And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant.
Come on.
And he said unto them, Thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound.
Come on.
And he was angry and would not go in.
He was what?
And he was angry and not go in.
So this would be Judah being angry. This would be Judah being moved to jealousy with that which is not a people. Why? Because his brother went, according to verse 15, and joined himself as a citizen of another nation. And yet Judah was there. Judah is the one that received mercy. Israel did not receive mercy. So the brother, which is Judah, in verse 28, it says, and he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. Verse 29.
And he answering said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgress I at any time thy command. And yet thou never gavest me a kid.
This is how Judah felt. Read.
That I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which has devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed him for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found.
That's how that's how Judah should feel in verse 32. But Judah was not feeling that way. Judah was moved to jealousy by that which was not a people. They had joined themselves to the other nations and they had become heathens. All right. So it was only Judah that was left. All right. Any questions? Any questions online? All right. I'm going to turn the class over to Priest and Officer Mataziala.
ISUPK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be students only. They are here to learn and share themselves with the world. If you need transportation, teachers will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithe, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. These 10th in Hebrew, Ma'ashra. 10% of every payment of any increase the Lord gives you. priest funds, free will offer for the priest. It's not mandatory. So whatever amount you'd like to donate. Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Memorial Blowing the Trumpets. It's on September 25th. And we will be hosting that event here at the Smyrna School. That is 202 North DuPont Boulevard. If you do not have the address, 202 North DuPont Boulevard, Smyrna, Delaware, 19977. It is scrolling, and that it has been scrolling on the bottom of the screen the whole class. So if you rewatch the class, you just get the address off the bottom of the screen. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And with that being said, if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. With that being said, individual Maya, Shabbat, Maya, Barak, Yahweh, Yahweh, Saul, please turn. Sister Maya, we're going to give Sister courtesy salute. Individual Maya, Shabbat, Maya, Barak,
Yahweh Shamar Athamba Shem Yahushai.
Yahweh Matah, class dismissed.
Excuse me. I got a question.
Somebody give me Romans 13 and 11.
I have a question.
It's a Ronald Carr, man. Give me Romans 13 and 11.
Khan, this is the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Brother, you need a water? Thank you.
That thing brought some nice cold air.
Don't it? This joint get
It gets nice. You know, need that.
white. We even turn the one on in the back.
Yeah, I did.
So we did.
Well, it was on. It looked like it. It was on when I first got here, but then it cut off. It must have gone some time with the timer where it cuts off. Look, it's 70 degrees in here, and it's just with them two. That's good. That's real good.
Did you bring up those pads?
I thought that was.
I know.
I thought that was. I'm leaving my stuff here. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll leave my